Cooper and Abarth are both names cemented in automotive history. While John Cooper was winning races with classic Minis, Carlo Abarth was doing the same with Fiat.
Decades later, these two names have a pedigree in Europe that is similar to the names Shelby and Mopar over here.
So it shouldn't come as any surprise to find their names associated with the latest in performance technology from both Fiat and Mini.
So which one of these two retro-inspired hot hatches is the best? It is time to find out. The Cooper S is powered by a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that generates 21 more horsepower than the 500 and 7 more pound-feet of torque. There is also an overboost feature that'll put total torque up to 192 pound-feet temporarily. A 6-speed automatic or 6-speed manual transmission are available in the Cooper S hardtop. With the manual transmission, the Cooper S is rated at 27 miles per gallon city and 35 miles per gallon highway. During our week of testing, the vehicle averaged 28.7 miles per gallon. Pricing on the Mini Cooper S hardtop starts at $23,300, but our test vehicle came loaded with options like the technology, cold weather, JCW interior, and JCW exterior packages, and that pushed the price well over $31,000. If a full convertible is a must, there is a Mini Cooper S convertible which costs roughly $4,000 more when equipped similarly to this dual sunroof hardtop.
Fiat powers the 500c Abarth with a 1.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. That creates 160 horsepower and 170 foot-pounds of torque put to the front wheels through a 5-speed manual transmission exclusively. Fuel economy comes in at 28 miles per gallon in the city or 34 on the highway, with a combined figure of 31 miles per gallon according to official estimates. Our test model costs $31,250. Of course, you can opt for the coupe, which carries a base price $4,000 lower than the Cabrio model.
Painted in British racing green along with the challenge spokes and of course a manual transmission, this Mini is one Union Jack on the roof away from being the prototypical Cooper S. I really like the blacked out headlights and the dual pane sunroof, and by lacking any of the optional Mini racing stripes, this Cooper S looks more mature when compared to the Abarth. Yeah, it sounds strange, but this is the more mature looking vehicle. Our Mini also has the JCW exterior package, which adds a lot of style to the outside, like the side skirts and the spoiler, but it also adds a lot of price.
What can I really say? It's a white Fiat 500 with larger 17-inch black wheels, dual tailpipes, a rear diffuser, red mirror caps, and Abarth badges all over the car. Oh, and of course you also get Abarth branded stripes along the sides. Even before you turn the key and hear the car's raspy exhaust note, it begs for attention. It's just up to you to decide whether or not that's really the message you want to send.
If you've ever been inside a modern Mini, this interior will be instantly recognizable. There are still a slew of toggle switches and the giant center speedometer that surrounds the infotainment unit. The front seats are supportive, but only fairly comfortable. Over short trips they're fine, but over longer journeys I found my legs would start to fall asleep. I do appreciate the dual sunroof and how both sides vent, and I'll take this setup over the 500 Abarth sardine can roof any day. Oh, but this bulky, uncomfortable shift knob has to go. I've never liked it, and I don't think I ever will. Legroom behind the front seats is tight and actually rated lower than the 500 Abarths. There's only 5.4 cubic feet of cargo space behind the rear seats, but there is a handy set of nets that'll help you secure your stuff should this vehicle be driven fast.
Mostly covered in plastic, the Fiat 500c Abarth's cabin is very simple, but not to a point of being flawed. In fact, I find it to be refreshing that there are so few buttons to learn inside the cabin. Now, Fiat calls this a convertible, but it really isn't. You get a rag top that retracts, and you'll get most of the same experience, but all of the structural pillars remain in place, and the roof can be drawn all the way back, and there are some advantages and drawbacks to being able to do that. Second row passengers will actually have remarkable headroom in good weather, but at the same time, pulling it all the way back means that you lose rearward visibility completely from the rear window. It blocks the rear view mirror entirely, and it can be a little bit disconcerting while you're driving. Now, a few of the things that I'm especially in love with this car are how close the shift knob is to the steering wheel, but on the other hand, I can't stand how the window controls are on either side of the shift knob. It makes it so that you can't raise or lower both of the windows at the same time, and depending on the position and the gear that you're in, it's just nutty having to reach around. The sports seats are plenty comfortable both on long drives and around town, but I gotta say I don't really like the position that they put you in for shifting with the clutch. You feel a little bit too upright, and it's just uncomfortable raising your knee and lowering. I come a little bit too close to the steering wheel, and I just find that to be bothersome.
The Mini is one of the most engaging front-wheel drive vehicles on the market today. There is a ton of torque at any RPM in any gear, and the overboost feature makes this vehicle feel far faster than it really is. Press the sport button and the exhaust will bark more than a 6-month-old puppy chasing a squirrel. If you time a 1-2 shift perfectly, it will emit such a loud pop that other drivers will be looking around to see what just hit their car. The pedals in the Cooper S are also placed far better for heel-toe shifting than they are in the Abarth. Being a Mini, the steering on this vehicle is razor sharp, and the car handles without any of the drama of the tippy Abarth. The downside to all this handling prowess is, of course, a stiff suspension, and like any Mini Cooper, this has a kidney-busting ride.
So the Abarth has sort of a split personality going on because of a standard sport mode. If you don't press the button, you'll find that you have less torque in first and second gear, and that'll help you to save gas around town, but it really makes for a dull driving experience. The throttle feels mushy, and you won't be able to speed up very easily. Mind you, if you push the sport mode, you get full access to that 170 foot-pounds of torque coming from the 1.4 liter turbo engine, and the car gets that really, really raspy sound. And yes, this is the much louder of the two cars. You hear? So, aside from that, I gotta say, a 5-speed manual? Really? A 5-speed? What other new cars are using a 5-speed anymore? Well, maybe it's not such a big deal, but it does seem a little bit outdated. If you do get a chance to drive one of these cars, don't be fooled by the tall stance and almost tippy steering feel. Coming into a corner right here, you might almost be tempted to think that the car is gonna roll over a little bit. It really won't though. The stiffer suspension, the stronger brakes, and the optional 3-season Pirelli P0 tires really do a great job of helping it to hang on. When you're in sport mode, you also get a stiffer steering feel, of course, but you know, one of the things that sort of bothers me about the car is that the brakes are really good, almost to a point where I'd like them to be a little bit softer, because around town I find that they're almost a little bit too grabby. There's one other thing I really want to point out with the convertible top. You have a few different modes, one that sort of mimics a sunroof, another that pulls it all the way back but leaves the rear portion intact, and then a third mode that drops it all the way down. Now, if you go for the sunroof mode, obviously that's really no different than if you had a hardtop. Pull it all the way back, and it's great until you hit a certain speed, and then you get a lot of wind buffeting. On the other hand, if you put it all the way down, like I said earlier, it completely blocks your rear view mirror, and that makes for some really scary situations on the road from time to time.
Cooper and Abarth continue to take everyday vehicles and turn them into hot hatch monsters. With big turbo power, excellent steering, and sporty suspensions, these two vehicles are a ton of fun.
The Abarth will charm its way into your heart with its unrefined, rebellious spirit in a way that most cars today just don't. It's like a boxer puppy. It's always got energy and it's ready to play.
But the Mini Cooper S is just as fun, easier to live with, more comfortable to drive, and gets better gas mileage. And that is enough to win this comparison.
For more on this car comparison and others like it, visit AutoGuide.com.